the Gentrified Podcast. Here are your two gentrifiers, Mark and Chris.
Yeah.
Moving into your neighborhood. Hi, we're artists.
Pushing you out.
We're not even there yet. Were we that though? Were you that? You were that.
An artist?
a gentrifier.
No,
an artist gentrifier.
I don't think I ever was because I was mostly poor and I wasn't influential enough to bring people into my neighborhood. Do you know what I'm saying?
Because it's usually, isn't it? I'm totally fucking this up, but isn't the model where it's poor people, working class people and immigrants, and then poor artists come in, and even though the artists are poor, what the artists do is that they kind of wedge open that door because they are either temporarily poor, or what you're saying is that they're influential. So they put up a bunch of murals and all this cool stuff happens.
Yeah.
And then people are like, now the Ubisoft, now the fucking app developers and people who work for computer software companies move in there because they aren't cool, but they want to find that cool. They want to buy the cool.
They chase it. Yeah. It's a classic cycle. Exactly. Whereas a working class neighborhood with some cool shops and stuff like that there, just very down to earth, salt of the earth vibes.
Yeah.
And then poor artists and musicians move in because that's the only place they could live. But then they introduce more white to an area.
Yeah.
And then when
green.
And green, yeah. And then they're spending a tiny amount of money. But then they also they look cool. So if you're from the outside and you see them being like, whoa, there's all these weird art kids living there and they're white. Maybe I could now move in there. It could be closer to the cool stuff, like the little makeshift art galleries and stuff that are around there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then once the yuppies move in, because it's now been cool, then they start pushing, raising the rents around them. And then that pushes out the working class people and then the music and the musicians and artists, which is ironic. And then it just becomes a yup zone.
Yeah. With nothing.
Yeah.
Just a David's tea.
All culture has been hollowed out.
Yeah.
It all starts with good intention and then turns to shit.
And you can tell too, there's a weird gentrification blueprint where it's there's the good intention boutiques, and then there's the franchises that are for some weird reason they're not shit on, like a David's tea. Do you know what I mean? People say, ooh, yes, I want to spend a lot of money on steeped grass,
leaves,
some leaves, but people are totally fine with that. There's there's artisan stores where somebody's selling things that are completely overpriced, but it's supporting them. But ironically, it's only you have to be rich to actually support them. I don't know, man. I think Starbucks is still gentrification, but Starbucks is fucking every redneck town now basically has a Starbucks. So
yeah, exactly. It's the
Starbucks is white trash. We're taking that back.
It's the new low-level coffee shop that's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Starbucks is white trash. I'm gonna make that argument. Starbucks is now white trash. You heard it here.
Is Starbucks Starbucks to Tim Hortons is what A&W is to McDonald's? And by that I mean a slightly better version of a thing that's sort of shitty. Fast food.
But not even. I mean? I'm not even gonna soil the sacred name of A&W because that A&W is the go-to. That's gotten me through. That's brought so much intrinsic joy into my life, man, throughout the years.
You don't
Starbucks. The thing about Starbucks is that Starbucks is it's like Subway, where it's packaging you this product that in reality is basically 7-Eleven quality,
right?
But they're oh, welcome. Yeah, I mean, welcome to Starbucks. Here's our brioche egg bun. Like a frap is just a Slurpee for rich people. Do you know what I mean? Or for yuppies. that's what it is. People go, oh, I'm gonna get my frap, and
their coffee is always burnt. Almost all the time. 100%.
It just comes through buttons. You just press it. It's not horrible. I say this stuff, but if somebody at work is I'm getting Starbucks, do you want one? Or if I'm driving somewhere and there's no coffee, there's no good coffee, and you're I'll get a fucking iced coffee. Who cares, right? I'll go pick up some Starbucks. But you're not it's almost just it's been to the point where it's so franchise. It's such a big part of our lives that it's one of those franchises that moves to a point where you don't look forward to it. It's like a Subway or Tim Hortons or a Starbucks or where you just you go there and you spend money and it fills a void, but like you're not like, oh yeah, like I can't wait to go to Starbucks.
Yeah, it's not a treat anymore. It's just like on your way to work, basically, like you're saying, you know? Yeah. I don't know. It's they did a good job branding. That was their whole thing.
Oh, dude,
they
when
made
I
it
was in
seem better than it was. And to make an environment for you to like feel superior or something, you know?
It's all plastic food. It's like Tim Hortons and Subway. It's like it all comes from. It's all prepackaged. Like the fact that like you can get these like artisanal breakfast sandwiches and they just like zap it and like in their crazy space microwave.
And you know that shit was made like a month ago and like frozen and sent on a truck from like America or something. And it's like it's just not like fresh at all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they have a fucking Natalie Imbruglia acoustic mix playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, so
and you go in there and you're eating your fucking like space food and you're like drinking your burnt coffee, being like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm better than those Tim Hortons people.
Yeah. Which is also trash. Tim Hortons is fucking garbage. The only thing I like about Tim Hortons is that it it employs and provides job security for like immigrant populations here. Like, you know what I mean? Like
starter jobs, you mean?
Yeah, like it's like, hey, I was an engineer in Syria and then I fled here and like I'm working at, you know, I have to, it sucks that you have to work at Tim Hortons and guys like me and like my kin, aka fucking dumb rural white people, treat you probably like garbage, even though you're a fucking software engineer or a, you know what I mean? Like
totally. Yeah, when I worked at Starbucks for 1 month when I first moved to Vancouver, and it was like literally in the ground floor of my condo that I was living in. So that's the only reason why I applied for it, because I could just take a elevator down to work. But then like when I worked there, I worked with this woman who was a lawyer from like I think Colombia or somewhere in South America.
Yeah.
And she was doing her whole thing to get like certified in Canada.
Exactly.
But she was like, and I was like barely made it through high school. And we're both like shoulder to shoulder. And I was like, man, this sucks for you. Like, this is a huge downgrade for you. Like, I hope you finish this whole thing and get into being a lawyer ASAP. Cause like, imagine going from a lawyer in a country to like, just, like customer service, like one of the shittiest jobs.
Especially a Starbucks or a Tim Hortons where people are just the fucking rudest.
They are the fucking
They want their coffee, like they want their shitty coffee super quick. Like,
and they're like detailed ass like thing. They like kind of roll out a scroll with like, I want like macchiato with a vanilla pump, only a half pump, and then like 3 pumps of hazel. You're like, what the shut the you know, there should be not that many options. It's like,
and ridiculous. They do not have tips on their debit machine.
Yeah. And I bet you if they did, we wouldn't even get them. You know what I'm saying? Like it would go up to the top.
It's fucking wild. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I support these franchises in any ways, because they provide entry level positions for people that are going to make our society much better than you and I are.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they should get paid more. It's frontline. It's crazy that frontline workers or these people are excluded from being frontline workers for the vaccine rollout, though. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
Like restaurant workers, like we demand that bars and restaurants stay open. Yeah, they're not going to get a vaccine. Like grocery store clerks are, which I think is super important.
Yeah.
But like the fact that we've made people like the whole illusion of choice and downtime and like enjoyment, like casual enjoyment of being able to eat at a restaurant has probably, I don't know. I've done no research on this. This is just purely speculation from my research, but from my brain. But I think that the fact that we've managed to keep restaurants open, which is definitely not a good thing, I don't think, in a lot of ways, but it's more than likely it's provided that like little level of just normalcy, you know what I mean, and escape.
Yeah.
And it's probably I would argue, even though no research, this is top of the dome, it's probably proven to be instrumental for our mental health to be able to go get a fucking coffee or go get tacos or pho.
Right. Are you talking about like to go though, or to stay?
To go and sit in a restaurant.
Even to sit in a restaurant. Yeah, because like in Montreal, that's not even a thing. No, it's only takeout. You know, and
that's not a thing. No, this is BC. This is BC specific. That's crazy. I was just talking to a friend who's living in Toronto right now, and he's like, I haven't been able to go to the gym or get a haircut since October. Yeah, and it's just like, holy shit, like.
Yeah, and then you throw in like a curfew on top of that, and you're like, how do you expect the mental health of your people,
but it still hasn't gotten better. Like how, like these curfews are in fact.
That's what's up. Okay. You think they would try the curfew for like a month or two, maybe just 1 month, and then just be like, did anything change? Oh, nothing changed. Well, then the curfew makes no difference. So let's get rid of that.
Well, maybe
instead
they don't
just
want to
like extend it. Yeah. But if it hasn't done anything already, then why continue using it? You know what I'm saying?
Is that why are people just breaking it anyways? Like, are enough people? This is what I like. This is the Hundy Thou podcast, so we don't really do research. We just talk. But
yeah.
Are enough people breaking it where it's just constantly getting slightly worse, or is it just, can we get rid of it? Or right, like, because like we don't want the super, like we don't want to be like Brazil or America or Spain or Italy when they were in their death throes or the really bad parts. But like, yeah, like if you're like, the fact that like our two biggest metropolitan centers, Montreal and Toronto, have been enforcing these very strict lockdowns, and it's just kind of like steadily been getting either worse or just staying the same. I don't know, man. Like what does
that even mean?
See, exactly. And I can see why people are frustrated. Like, obviously I don't believe in anti-lockdown protests. I don't believe in the whole no mask thing and all that stuff. Like, we need to, as a society, we need to have a cohesive effort to both maintain our health and and beat this thing. But the reality, but this also just shows how this is a reality of government. So is that like, you have the ideal expectations, and then the reality is always somewhere much lower, where, you know what I mean? Like, the actual ability for them to do it, or just how they do it, or what they choose to do, is always just mediocre and adequate.
Yeah.
So it's like, whether that's the enforcement of curfews, whether that's the actual proper, what they deem the proper enforcement, like, what's eligible to stay open, what's not, or if it's rolling out the vaccine, it's always done in this very mediocre level,
like disappointing level.
Yeah, but that's democracy though, man. It's better than fascism. It's better than a totalitarian, totalitarianism in any sense, or chaos.
Yeah,
but it's that's not perfect.
That's exactly, and that's why also though there has to be the pressure of shooting too high.
Exactly,
because like what you're saying, like once it falls short, at least it'll still be on a substantial level. That's why, like, sometimes when people get like pissy about this cancel culture stuff that's going on, it's like, sure, it could be annoying depending on the situation, but we're trying to raise the entire bar to higher level, and if it's gonna fall short, it's like we kind of just have to go through this loud part of time, you know what I mean? And like, just let that be a gigantic step forward, and then the one step back. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Steps forward.
Exactly. And it's like, this is also a long time coming. Like, this is the thing. It's not like I feel like cancel culture should have, we should have been canceling shit in the fucking 80s already.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, so like,
it's just basically, it's like updating the terms of service. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and we all have to just like hit agree on this new thing. It's just like, okay, fucking times have changed. Let's get everyone on board of this new thing. Like, you can't be doing this evil shit anymore, or we're going to call you out. And we have to be so extreme that like you're setting a new bar for everybody, basically. You know what I mean?
Well, and we're also allowed to be like, well, that's a little silly too. Like I think that's what people are scared about, is that there's like the mob effort of like, you have to go with it. And it's like, you don't all the time, because some people like there's such a thing as social dialogue.
Yeah, exactly.
That is lacking in our society. Like, we need to have this discourse. Like, I was reading a thing the other day about, and I don't even know if it's like, this could totally be overblown. Like, sometimes the whole cancel culture is just like 5 dudes on Twitter being like, cancel this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this one in particular was about Speedy Gonzales, and how people are complaining that Speedy Gonzales is racist, and they should be canceled. But then a bunch of Latinos apparently are like, no, we like Speedy Gonzales. Like, they're like, actually, we're not offended by Speedy Gonzales. He's merely a Mexican mouse, albeit with an outdated form of dressing, but like,
totally,
we grew up loving, like, we love Speedy Gonzales. He's fast, he's cool.
Yeah,
he's
the irony of all that is that even though it's like a caricature of a race, sometimes it's like also representation, which normally wouldn't exist. And I know it's like, that's like and that's a time thing too, because like Speedy Gonzales was created like when the hell ever, I don't even know when, but like a long ass time ago.
60,
yeah, exactly. So sure, that could be updated, or there could be more representation in newer things, but you can't just be like, get rid of that whole thing from the past because it's like we don't like it now. And also in one demographic, there could be a spectrum of people that like and dislike. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like just one, like a whole demographic thinks one thing.
Yeah. Like, I bet you a bunch of Mexican kids got picked up, you know, or like did something fast and some kid was like, oh, Speedy Gonzales.
I bet you a kid said that to me one time when I was a kid, but like, it was never like so hurtful that I like carried it with me all my life. And was, because then you think about, it's like, hey, Speedy Gonzales, and you're like, oh, the super fast, cool little like mouse creature. Like, that's pretty sick, actually. Like it's not even a diss, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, they should cancel is Slowpoke Rodriguez.
I don't even know what that is, dude. What is that?
Dude, Slowpoke Rodriguez was like, he only appeared once in a while.
He was a Looney Tunes character?
Yeah,
what?
But dude, I think he just kind of got canceled naturally because you can look it up. He's a side character in it, and he only appears once in a while, and he's more of like the lazy racist Mexican caricature.
Yeah. Oh, I see it now. Oh my god. Yeah, like even the name Slowpoke Rodriguez, like he just looks like he's like I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and he looks like he's just like a lazy like high mouse. Yeah. He's like like all the negative stereotypes basically of like
But
of
that's
like
the guy.
Hispanics.
Like, nobody talks about Slowpoke. I think like,
dude, I don't have no memory of that character.
It's almost like if like Latinos collectively were just like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you
forget him.
Yo, that's democracy too. It's
that's
like
democracy,
a lot of people just were not feeling that, and then he just disappeared, you know?
Yeah. Like, obviously you shouldn't, I mean, like, yeah, like, and what you're saying, like, it's much more complicated than just an entire group being like yes or no. And like, yeah, like, obviously a mouse, like, I mean, it's not the best, it's obviously not the most ideal representation, but in that context of a cartoon, if you're in a cartoon universe and the representation is like, yeah, like the cool, fast, wily hero character, that
at least he wasn't like the French cat rapist.
Oh yeah, Pepe Le Pew, the smelly skunk.
Yeah, exactly. Or I guess he wasn't really well.
And people are like people are canceling Pepe Le Pew, and then people are getting mad at canceling Pepe Le Pew, and it's just like, it's kind of just a stupid cartoon anyways. Like, we can get rid of Pepe. Like, we don't really, like, it was all like, if you watch it, all he does is try to rape a cat the entire time.
Yeah,
like, he just hops around.
Yeah,
it's creepy, man.
He like dogs her.
She's trying to run away.
Time.
And he's just like boing, 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 like stalking her. Just boing, boing.
That's kind of teaching kids that it's like, if she says no, you can still have a shot. But I think, now that I think about it, at the end of every one of those skits, doesn't she still not like him by the end of it?
Yeah, but he's delusional.
Yeah,
like, he's just like completely delusional.
Yeah, he's the original milady.
Exactly. And what usually happens is that like the cat falls asleep or something happens, and then like, you know, her backside gets painted white, so she looks like a skunk, and then he can't tell the difference. And it, like, try right, but it's just like, okay.
Yeah, Speedy Gonzales all the way, man.
Yeah.
At least he's just like running around and he's the hero, basically.
Protect Speedy Gonzales at all costs.
That's right. And kidnap and disappear Slowpoke.
Yeah. send him away. Yeah. There's I was gonna say some pretty shitty things.
Say the harsh thing and I'll edit it.
I was gonna say call ice on him.
Jesus.
These little fucking rabbits in ice jackets show up.
Oh man, no.
In the cartoon.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Fuck. That's gonna happen in Space Jam 2.
Oh,
Ice is gonna roll up. In the middle of the game, Ice is gonna roll up, and they're gonna
take away one of the star players.
One of them, but it's gonna be Slowpoke because Speedy Gonzales is much quicker.
Yeah.
That's just fucked up though. Fucking abolish Ice. Fuck Ice. Fucking. That being said, made that joke, but everybody in Ice can swallow poison, and they could fucking demolish all those fucking ice facilities. Let's just keep it real.
There you go. Yeah. Support. Yeah. Yo, as a person whose dad came over the border underneath the hood of a truck, I support
that. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Fucking wild, man.
That is some trippy shit, dude. Like, it's not the most fun to get across that border. I know you're doing it illegally, but it's not like it's not a good time.
Fucking wild, dude. It's like you don't realize how fucking soft you are, or just like privileged, when people are like, I don't have privilege, and it's just like, well, did you fucking run across the Sonora Desert in fear of death? Like,
Yeah.
Did you put your entire livelihood and your future into like a cartel's hands to make it across a border, and where you could either get killed by them or get just whatever happens to them,
turn into a slave on the other end? You just have no idea what'll happen. You just get sold off, you know?
I don't give a shit, man. I like, as a white person, like, oh, my daddy worked this and my dad, yeah, sure, like my family were fucking like tough lumberjacks and this and that, but like I didn't fucking like I've never experienced that.
Yeah.
For fucking my family hasn't, like, that's I think the epitome of white privilege is like,
definitely. That's why
sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's why you have these fucking people arguing about MCU universe shit now, like the most meaningless ass shit. It's like because you had no, you have the luxury to think about the most stupid ass dumb shit and then argue in great detail about it because you have like nothing. You have no struggle basically.
Yeah, you're fucking crying about the ending of WandaVision.
Like, yeah, exactly, and like having your personal opinions about it. It's like because you have nothing else to worry about, man. Like
if your calendar is basically marking down the days until the Justice League Zack Snyder cut is released, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Plus, you probably got a pretty decent life.
And you got a decent life.
If that's what you're thinking about, then yeah.
If you get angry,
if a movie, if you get angry when a movie's pushed back 1 year, then you're doing pretty good. If
you're an adult, like if you're a functioning adult in our society, and you get angry at how bad the Star Wars movies are, like that's fucking privilege right there, buddy.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
I was in a bar, I think it was the second one. I was in a bar on Main Street, and there was a table there's a table of adults, like 3 dudes older than me, like mid-40s, mid-40s, and they were just like having like a philosophical Aristotelian almost like breakdown of how bad the Star Wars movies were. And I just wanted to just buy the drinks and then with a little note and just be like, my guys, these movies are for children.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They're to sell toys for children.
Yeah.
Fucking relax.
Plus your love of it began when you were a child. Like, think about that. Like that was huge for us as children. Yes. So like when the new ones come out and you're like, oh, check that out. And then you have that exact realization you just said, where you're like, oh yeah, these are for children of this generation.
Yeah.
I had my time and this is their time. And like, why as an adult do I care about this? But I kind of was wondering about this recently because it's like, is this our generation's like burden basically? Is that we all have arrested development? Where like, you still have these like adults our age who are like got like toys and are like super into video games and are like deep into movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like the never like entertainment is grown in a way that it allows us to still be children.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because we still could like buy like Marvel costumes as adults, you know what I'm saying, or like buy like new video games or paraphernalia and shit.
Adults are the ones that spend all the money on video games, and again,
because they have adult money.
We don't do research, but
they have adult money and they have Arrested Development where they're still into their like childhood
comic books,
and you're just like,
who buys comic books?
I mean, it's not bad, but it's just like interesting. I feel like,
yeah, I think so. But I mean, fuck, man, like that's a good point. I think that that's a hard one because it makes me think about music. Like, did this start with music, like pop music? Because
how so? What do you mean?
Like the fact that the baby boomers were so tied into their youth and like their experience through rock music, like discovering youthful rebellion music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it coming through from like, a lot of times it was like young white people making R&B music, and so it's like it was anti-establishment and the hippies and Woodstock and all this stuff. You can make an argument that I think boomers have arrested development for fucking rock and roll, for music from the 60s easily. Yeah. I think that the comic books and the comics and the video games are kind of like the Gen X, Gen Y, millennial kind of version of that, where we're almost tied into that the same way boomers are tied into to the fucking Rolling Stones and the Beatles. Like, also, shit about the fucking Beatles right now,
definitely.
Like, also, Led Zeppelin is definitely not the greatest band of all time, but a lot of boomers are like, oh,
but like also in the 80s, like that's when they really started focusing on children and like
Yes.
advertising to the youth and the kids, because they knew that if the kids harass their parents, then their parents will buy them the thing. So they started targeting kids. Yeah. So I think that's maybe a big part of it too, is because we were so indoctrinated. Like basically all ads for children were done so well that it got right in our heads, and it made it the most coolest and most important thing. And that maybe just never left us. Because like you think as you grow older, you get out of things, and then you get into new things that are more quote unquote adult or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just feel like this generation, also with the internet, where we're able to look back very easily. Like we could just go back to our youth on YouTube in like seconds, like you could type in old commercials, you could watch old TV shows, you could do anything. You could relive old things right now. And that was something that wasn't really possible in the past, Like people in the 80s. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, here's a question. How many guys we know, or people, a person we know that they know has a fucking spent $3,000 on a He-Man sleeve or a Transformer tattoo sleeve or a Pokemon fucking, right?
And like, I used to think
meant so much to you that you're going to spend your adult money and just embed it on your skin.
Yeah. I guess what the part that interests me is that was where their interest stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
that part's really interesting to me, because I don't get it. I don't understand that, but it's, again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not hating anyone out there listening. I'm just find it interesting. And it seems to be unique to this generation so far. I mean, technology's advanced in a way that it could get even more weird in the future, but.
And you're allowed to like shit too. Like I love fucking like I say all this shit, but like the original Star Wars are formative, like especially just aesthetic wise and movie wise, and like Jim Henson's Muppets, LucasArts, watching these
but
crazy aliens.
Are you gonna just rant to a date about how amazing it was?
No, never.
Of course not. Yeah,
never.
That's for your own personal thoughts and enjoyment inside your mind, and not outside. Time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's for me. That's for me to escape and to be a weird nerd.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying like, and the whole like, it's kind of almost good getting picked. It was a good thing. Like it's like being bullied sucks, obviously, and like, but like when the cool kids in school were like, oh, you're reading, that's for losers, or like you like nerdy things. It's like, that's a good sign. Like it sucks when it's happening, because humans beings as a society are like, we want to fit in, but like also like it's kind of good, because if all those kids were into Lord of the Rings, you probably wouldn't have liked it as much,
It's like that whole classic thing that like the audience sometimes ruins something. Like once you start getting a lot of people into something and you're hearing all these different opinions, the thing itself starts to get a little lamer. You're like, ugh. We're in the age where you hear every single person's opinion, which is pretty crazy. Like never didn't used to be like that. I know, dude. Okay, I've been having some internal struggles recently, because I am finding it annoying to hear everybody's opinion all the time, and then I literally have a podcast where I just sit on my fucking like soapbox and I just like dish out my opinions, and I'm like, man, that's so hypocritical and weird. But my logic loop out of that is that this is entertainment and you're choosing to listen to my podcast, whereas like other people are just doing it on these like social media platforms where you're not, I guess you're choosing to be on them, but at the same time, you're not choosing to hear everything. Dude, I guess.
And just embrace the hypocrisy, bro.
Yeah,
the world
exactly.
is nothing is black and white though. This is what we're saying. Like,
yeah,
like fucking listen to it or don't. I don't know. Can't cancel us or don't. And that's our fucking opinion.
Yeah.
Speedy Gonzales not canceled. Slowpoke Rodriguez canceled.
Star Wars not canceled. Fans canceled.
Canceled. I just don't think you should
cancel the fans. Anymore. Can we cancel fans?
Dude, let's just cancel fandoms.
Get rid of fans.
Cosplayers.
Yeah.
All that shit. That's too much, man.
You've gone too far.
It's too much.
And that's our final word.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this episode where we cancel everybody.
Everything's canceled.
Except for cancel culture.
Yeah.
That's still a go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the snake eating its own tail. It'll cancel itself out eventually.
Exactly. It'd be interesting to see.
We live in a perfect world.
Yeah, utopian society like we always dreamed. All right, I'm going to cancel that then.
All right.
Bye.